Cross Blue Shield of Michigan wellness coordinator, and today we are going to make a homemade mayo based dressings or dips, and then you can add different seasonings and spicings, and I'll kind of show you how to do that today. But we're going to start with the base, the mayo. So a lot of the store-bought mayos have a ton of different ingredients in it, and they're all processed, and this is just a simple, easy, cheap way to make your homemade mayo in a bulk that costs way less than what you're going to buy in the store, and it doesn't have a ton of ingredients that are not great for us. So what this is we're going to start with, you're going to have an egg or two, just based on how big you're going to make the batch. I'll probably make a double batch. We like to keep this on hand for like different dips, sauces. My fiance loves ranch, and so that's one of the things that why I started making this too, is because the ranch dressings are full of processed things and they're just not good for our health. And this is very simple, easy, and full of good ingredients. And also you'll need some dill if you're making the ranch, garlic, salt, lemons, or you can use a vinegar, a white vinegar. Olive oil. You can also use avocado oil. I also make this with avocado oil, just because I don't do well with olive oil most times. So that's why I use the avocado oil. Or I use coconut oil. It hardens up too fast, so it doesn't stay liquefied like it should. And then I also have a couple other ingredients: smoked paprika, chipotle, for a couple different ways that we're gonna kind of mix this up and make this base. So what you're gonna do is we're gonna start with adding 2 eggs to this, and this is gonna make a double batch. So I'm gonna grab 2 of our eggs from here, and I'm just gonna crack them in there. We're gonna use a whole egg for this recipe. So this makes a lot. So just based off how much dressing that you go through, I always make a double batch of everything because it just lasts a lot longer and it makes things quicker, so I don't have to always make it. So you're going to add that, and then you're going to add your lemon juice or your white vinegar. So I'm going to juice this, I'm going to squeeze it. This kind of takes so you don't have to get the seeds, it gets the seeds, but it gets you the juice that you're going to need. So you're going to need the juice of a half of a lemon, or you can use lemon juice too as well. We just have these on hand. So then I'm going to dump that in there. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of salt. Make sure. Get that all in there. Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on there. So I'm going to grab my pepper. So I have that. And this is I've had this handed down from my mom since college, so I haven't gotten rid of it, so you're going to see the way that we keep it moving, and I don't have to buy a new one just yet. I'm just kind of cheap like that. I might as well use what I have. So this is a food processor. You can use a blender too as well, but you want to have something that you can slowly add the oil to, and that you're not just all adding everything at once, because this is going to get emulsified. So that means it's going to get blended, and it's going to get to the point of where you can eat it, where it's not raw. And then the oil, when you pour it in there, you want to make sure it's nice and slow, so then it can kind of slowly mix together and get that thicker substance. So you're gonna pulse this for 30 seconds, about 20 to 30 seconds. You'll see it kind of start changing. So it's really bright yellow, and then eventually it will get to this like a little more airier, lighter yellow once you pulse it for long enough. Our eggs yolks are so like bright yellow that it might look different than your store-bought eggs, just because ours are farm-raised, fresh, and sometimes the store-bought eggs, depending on what you get, the yolks are not going to be as bright. So you notice it kind of changed. It went down just a tint, color, one shade of yellow. So we're going to do 5 more seconds. So that is it emulsifying. This is kind of similar to how you make a hollandaise sauce, but not exactly. There's a couple more steps to it, but you'll do something similar if you're making a hollandaise sauce. So I'm going to take the top off of that. And what you can do, you can add your seasoning at the beginning or end. So it's totally up to you. It's not going to affect the process. I like to get the mayo base first because that's going to be our mayo, and then I like to add my seasoning in the end. But if you already know what you're making, you can just add the seasoning right away. So what you're going to do is you're going to bring this out just a little further so I can dump my oil. So this is olive oil. We just get it in from the store. Usually you can get it in bulk, or you can get it in like at a different like size ounces. We get it usually just varying. We try to make sure it's a good source of olive oil and that it's not just like heavily produced by a mass produced by a company. So what we're going to do is we're going to slowly pour that in. And this is about 2.5 cups of olive oil. So you're just going to pour this slowly in. Now I know this calls for a lot of olive oil. You can always do less if you're making a smaller batch. And I've even, in a pinch when I didn't have enough oil, I've made it with less, and it turned out just fine. And it just wasn't as thick. So it's totally based off what how thick you want your dressing. So you can hear it kind of thickening up. It's kind of making like a gurgling sound. Mayo base. So this was like super easy, super cheap. You don't want to use extra virgin olive oil because it is so pungent that the flavor is going to be thrown off. So you just want regular olive oil. And so with that, the olive oils, like I said, you can get anywhere that you want to get it. It's just all those other store-bought mayos. They have a ton of like ingredients like vegetable oil, and then it has like ingredients that you really don't need. It's just to keep it shelf stable. And so this is like simple, not a lot of ingredients, but I'll kind of show you what it looks like. This is what the mayo looks like. So you can use this for deviled eggs, just mixing the recipe together, or you can use it for other like dressings, and you can make it less thick by adding, if you want to, if you can deal with milk, you can add milk to it. You can also add just a little bit of water, or you can add another egg. Another egg will kind of also make it a little more liquidy. And so what this is, it's thicker, it's kind of just a mayo-based dressing, but we also put it in our salads, and we just like put a little dollop on it, and then we mix it around, and that's our dressing. Some people like to make their dressings with sour cream or yogurt or any of those things, and I just prefer this way. I like the flavor better. So it's totally up to you. There's recipes out there for sour cream based recipes. So now that we have that, I'm going to make, I'm going to use half of it, and I'm going to make half of it's going to be a ranch base, and then the other half is going to be a chipotle aioli. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take half of it out of there. I'm going to use a spoon. And I'll save this for later. So I'm just going to pour half of this out. And that's going to be, let's do that much. That's going to be my chipotle aioli that I'll make after this one. There we go. That's down. Okay. So I'm going to wash my hands really quick. Okay. So now that I'm going to set that aside for my chipotle aioli. This one's just going to be that ranch base. So I'm going to add a little bit of pepper, just a couple of swivels. It's really, you can taste it afterwards and see if you like the flavor or not. So I added black pepper. Then I'm going to add my garlic. You can add onion too. So this is about a teaspoon of garlic. I actually put a little too much in this jar. And then I'm going to add my smoked paprika. because he likes it with a little bit of smokiness to it. But if you don't want smoked paprika, don't add it. That's totally up to you. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my smoked paprika to it, and then, so I'll omit that if you don't want that, if you just want a plain ranch based. And then I'm going to cut, this is fresh dill that I got from the store. You can also use dried, and I'm just going to cut it up like so, just to make sure it's well mixed in there. So that's just about a half a bunch of dill that I'm going to throw in there. I like it personally really with a lot of dill, so does he. If you don't like a ton of dill, you don't have to add that. You can also add parsley, fresh or dried. We don't have that on hand right now. We unfortunately ran out. But I also add a little bit of parsley, about a tablespoon of parsley to here as well. And that just kind of adds a little different, it adds good flavor. It's nothing like that's really pungent. So if you were to do it dried, I would add about a tablespoon of dill to it. So then I'm just gonna blend it up. And I'm gonna scrape the sides. So I'm gonna grab a spatula. I totally forgot to grab one. So I'm just gonna scrape the sides so that it gets mixed in there. This is kind of what the ranch looks like. It has a little red tint because of the smoked paprika, so it adds a little smokiness, dill flavor to it. But basically that's what it is. And you can use it for your dressings or anything. I always, if you want to, like I said, thin it out a little bit to make it a little more waterier, less thick. You can add any type of milk that you want to add to it, and just like mix it up or blend it up. And there you go, there's your dressing, your ranch dressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scrape this out. And really when I make the next one, I'm going to keep it all. I'm not going to wash it because I know that we're just not very picky. And if there's a little bit of dill or residue left, that's totally fine. So this is kind of like our go-to for a lot of different things. And it's really simple. Like I said, it's eggs, oil, olive oil, or avocado oil, and then your seasoning of choice. So I'm going to keep that like so. Put that on. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to add this back in there to show you how to make the chipotle aioli. So, with that, for the chipotle aioli, we're going to add the garlic to it. That's about a teaspoon of garlic. We already have salt in there. And then I'm going to add this one. It has chipotle seasoning in it, and then smoked paprika as well. Dump that in there, and that's about, depending on how smokiness you want it, I have a teaspoon and a half, and then the chipotle, to give it a little more like chipotle kick to it, I added about a teaspoon of that. You can also add chili powder to give it a little kick if you want a little spice to it. So that's another way to kind of like kick it up a notch. So with that, you're just gonna add those. You can always add jalapeno too to give it a little nice little kick in that chipotle flavor. But we're gonna just blend that up. The sides, make sure nothing's, oh, my spatula's caught. Oh no. Okay. Let's get that in there. Okay. Mix it one more time. looks like. Nice, pretty red color, and I'm just going to scoop that into there. And then that's what you have. You can also, so if you start with that mayo base dressing, you can make a basil aioli. So it's just, you can use fresh or dried basil, and then you can add garlic to it, onion, and start with, so it'd probably be, I like a little more basil, so I'm going to add about a half a handful or a handful of basil if you are using fresh, or you can do 2 tablespoons of dried, add that to it, and then add your garlic, a teaspoon of garlic, and then I would say like half of onion powder. Blend that up, and then that's your basil aioli. You can also do a garlic, where it's just a garlic-based aioli, so it's starting with that mayo, and then adding your garlic powder to that. If you want to add onion, you can too as well. So, okay. So I'm just gonna wipe that on the sides. Messy. I always want to make sure I get everything. No waste. So that's just kind of how you make that. Like I said, you can thin it out if you don't like it thick. You can thin it out with like a milk-based product, or if you don't have any of that, try some water. But this is just an easy way to kind of make some of those dressings that you can have in bulk and use them. We usually, a tablespoon of this goes a long way on any salad, any, if you're using it for dipping sauce, like anything like that goes a long way. I've tried it out with my family. They love this mayo-based dressings. And then it's something that it's quick and easy, and it's stuff that you usually have in your kitchen that you can use. So I want to thank you for joining me today. If you watch the video or you go back and watch the video, please comment below so we can give you credit for the Strive for 5 program. If you have any questions, please also comment below. But this is just something quick, easy for you to make and kind of save those calories and improve your health just a little bit by making something at home. If you are a ranch fanatic, or you love mayo, or you just love having condiments, this is something that you can make at home that's really quick and easy, and that you will like, and hopefully your family will like. So thank you for joining me today. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.